What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Book Binge on the King Crusoe YouTube channel. This is episode 10. It's the first Monday of March, and we are doing my February reading wrap-up and March TBR. Just a little forewarning, if I have like bags under my eyes, or if I look tired and my voice is really rumbly, it's because I just woke up like an hour ago and haven't done any talking. Plus, I haven't recorded in like a week and a half, so this video might be just a little bit more rough, but we'll go through it as we go through it. Luckily, this is more freeform, just talking about the stuff that I read. I don't really have anything else to say. It's just, yeah, sorry about my voice. Without further ado, let's just get right into the books that I read in February. Now, in January was a very productive reading month for me after December was a little bit slower. February was a little bit on the slower side for a couple different reasons. I've been very busy this month making a bunch of extra videos ahead of time for the next couple months, which I'll explain in the April State of Affairs video when we get there in a month, because I'm recording this on March 1st. The first book that I read in February was one of the first classics that I've read, at least one of the first classic that I've read in this new reading journey I've been on, and that was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Now, I read the original 1818 version. I had a phenomenal time with this book. Uh, I'm actually going to be starting a special video series specifically for classics as a result of this book, where I was originally planning to do a critical analysis video and platinum review video once every 3 months. There was going to be a 1 month gap every once in a while in between those videos, so I'm going to do a series called Count the Classics, where I cover they're going to be more scripted videos similar to the Platinum Review videos, but I talk about a specific classic book, and this is going to be the first episode in April, is going to be for Frankenstein. It had a huge impression on me, and I was very surprised by it in a lot of fantastic ways. So that was the first book that I read in February. I actually plowed right through it really quick, to be honest. But then the second book I read in February, I was actually balancing this with another book, which we'll talk about in just a minute. The second book was Dune. A particular member of the Mike Book Reviews Discord server was doing a read-along in February for Dune. At the time, he hadn't planned to do anything for the rest of the series, just this first book, so I decided to just jump along because why not? My initial thoughts that I'm just going to display here, there were a lot of pros and a couple of cons to watching the 2021 Denis V adaptation of Dune before reading the book. It made getting into it, at least the first part of it, book one of Dune, was actually rather uh, it was a lot simpler to understand and get into because of watching the movie for me. If I hadn't seen the movie, I probably would have been a lot more mediocre on this book than I actually turned out being. I enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to love it. I don't necessarily love it, but I really like it. I think it's a book that I'll need to read again in like 10 years or something like that to really understand how I feel about it. Because at this current point in time, I'm only 20 years old. A lot of what this book is about is not something that a lot of people my age are going to be into, so I enjoyed it, especially since I watched the movie. But yeah, I'll definitely have to give this another read at some point. Sorry, Reen, I'm not going to join the rest of the Dune books for the read along or anything like that. I just feel like I don't really feel like I need to read them, to be honest. Some people feel like they have to read Dune Messiah to be able to get a completed arc or anything like that with Dune, and I thought it ended in a place that I was pretty happy with. So maybe if I do a reread of the book in 10 or 15 years, I'll read the rest of the series, but we'll see. That's not for a long ways down the road. The third book that I read in February, or am still reading, is The Drawing of the Three. Like I said, February was way unproductive compared to January. There were several weekends. There were like 2 or 3 weekends in a row where I just didn't read for 2 or 3 days at all. So I got really behind on a lot of my reading schedule. Nothing I'm going to be too fussed about. I'm most of the way through this book. I'm going to be finishing it either tonight or tomorrow morning, which is March 2nd at the time of recording. So I can definitely say that at least how far I've gotten. I finished the first couple parts of it. I've really liked what I've read. about as much, if not more, depending on the section of The Gunslinger. It's definitely been a lot different, and I've loved most of it. There were a couple bits that I really disliked, but we'll get into that when I do a book review of this at the end of May, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I will be doing another book review of this where I talk about some of those things. So I am excited to talk about it, but like I said, I haven't quite finished reading it yet, but I will be finishing it very soon. This last weekend, at the time of recording, Elden Ring, the newest FromSoft game, came out, and I just no-lifed the hell out of that. I played for, I don't know, like 12 or 13 hours in one weekend, and I don't spend that much time gaming anymore at all because I have too much other work to do. So I just got super behind on other stuff. I was just too busy playing games. Um, and then another book that I started reading in February, but was never planning to finish in February, if you watched the TBR video for that month, was War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. So I didn't get super far into the book. I only finished part one of volume one, so I'm barely in there, only like 115 pages out of 1360 or something like that in my copy. I mentioned that I was reading another book alongside Dune. This was the one for the first week or so while I was reading book one of this copy of Dune. I was reading part one of War and Peace, and I've really been enjoying War and Peace, but because of time constraints and stuff and falling behind and having several points in time where I just wasn't reading for a couple days, I had decided to put this down temporarily so that I could finish Dune and read The Drawing of the Three and at least get those two read-along books out of the way because uh, although I'm really enjoying this book, I did not want to put it down because I was enjoying even just this build-up and setup so far. But it's fine. I'm going to be getting more into this in March. So uh, I'm not sure if you could tell based on what I said with February. My book of the month for February would definitely have to go to Frankenstein. Like I said, it surprised me a lot. There were a lot of very fantastic things. I will be doing a scripted book review of it where I just really go in depth into some of the things that I really liked about it. Um, I know somebody else in my book reviews Discord, one of the moderators, who has this book as well as a couple other classics in his top 10 favorite books slash series of all time. And I was a little bit surprised to see Frankenstein on it, but after reading it, I can definitely see why it's probably in my top 10 books of all time as well. I absolutely loved it. So, I kind of hinted at this a couple minutes ago. We're just going to go right into the TBR for March, what I'm going to be reading this month. Um, I'm going to continue War and Peace. This isn't going to be the main thing that I read, but I'm definitely going to continue this. Since I only read 115 pages in February, and I was hoping to get a lot further than that, I will be doing my best to get further in this. This is going to be a commitment for several months because it's kind of a secondary to all the other stuff. I don't want to just, spend an entire month just binging the heck out of this and, missing all the other books that I'm wanting to read. So I will be continuing War and Peace. I hope to get done with at least volume one by the end of the month if possible. So that's the goal with this book. But other than that, the main books that I'm going to be focusing on this month in the Mike Book Reviews Discord, I keep on mentioning this in every video it seems, but that's alright. We're now doing a monthly classic read-along type of thing, where each month we pick a new classic, vote on a classic altogether to decide what we're going to read for any particular month. So, February was Frankenstein, that's why I read that. For March, the first book that I'm going to read as soon as I'm done with Drawing of the Three today or tomorrow is going to be Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is one of those dystopian novels that most people know about. I think it's one of the least read of, some of the big dystopian novels. If you think of like 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 and Brave New World and some of those other very well-known dystopian novels, I think this is the least read, or at least well-known of those, but still definitely a very highly known book. I'm excited to read it. One of the reasons being that it's super short. Like, this will probably only take me 2, maybe 3 days at most to read. So it'll be nice to get something quick and easy out of the way, compared to the last couple compared to last month where I've had these big books on the table. But I'm excited to read it and actually go into some of the things that I think about it. I'm probably going to end up doing a Count the Classics video on this. I might just do a normal book review. It depends on how it hits me. So this will be the first full book that I finish in March. After that, I think the book that I'm going to read is The Wastelands by Stephen King, which is the third book in the Dark Tower series. The Drawing of the Three has taken me far, far longer to read than I ever hoped or anticipated it would. And because of stuff like that, I plan to start this book as soon as I'm done with Brave New World, because I want to get this done before April when we read Wizard in Class, because that's going to be a huge book. But I'm very excited about this. This is probably one of my favorite covers of all time. I just love this artwork so much. Probably easily my favorite artwork of this box set of The Dark Tower that I got. I'm very excited to read it just because of that cover alone. And I'm hoping to kind of go into the actual journey of heading to the tower, starting with this, compared to this book being just a story of collecting the team members. So I'm going to be reading this in March. I'm very excited for that one. Aside from those two books and continuing War and Peace, we'll see how my reading goes this month. Like, it may just kind of be this thing where one month I'm super productive reading, the next month I'm not, and just kind of like that. So I'm not committing to these next couple options at all, but if I have a couple extra days, or if I'm, want to take a little bit of a break in between volumes, or parts of a volume of War and Peace or something like that, the next book I plan to read is Battle of the Labyrinth, the fourth book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. I've reread The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, and The Titan's Curse all in January, so I read all of those. Like I said, February's been super unproductive. I was hoping to be able to throw this in as kind of like a palate cleanser if I was really productive reading this month. That did not end up happening, which I'm not too upset about because these will be super easy to go back into anyway. But in March, since I only have these two books as official, like, I'm going to read these books in March and then continue War and Peace. Since that's all I have on the table, I'm very much hopeful to at least get Battle of the Labyrinth in and continue that reread so that I can do a full series review of that sometime later this year. But if I'm able to fit this in, and then I still have room for another book beyond that, I'm just going to read The Last Olympian, which is the fifth book, the final book in the Percy Jackson Olympian series. I don't really have anything else to say than that. That's the plan for March. That's what I've read in February. This is probably the end of this video, so thank you guys for watching. If you stuck around, like and subscribe if you want to see any other videos. Ring the bell if you want to know when any of them come out. When they come out, it's usually 7 a.m. Mountain Time. On Mondays and Fridays is when most of my videos come out. So stick around for all of those. Check out seasonalproductions.com for a backlog of all my video content, as well as all of my writing that I do. So go check that out and bookmark it if you want to support me. This is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back again with whatever the next video is, because I cannot remember what it is. It's probably the book haul video for the month, if I believe. If so, that comes out on Friday, so stick around for that. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.